motor pressor pump. You feel the bits and pieces. So firstly we've got tyre pressure gauge, digital one. I don't like to rely on digital things. So I also have, as well as that, I've got a normal analog tyre gauge. I've got a depth gauge as well, and a little angled valve. This is just basically so you can you know, get into the spokes and fit the air compressor basically. So the motor pressor is a little 12 volt compressor, quite simple. It's got an on off switch there. It's got the SAE connector, so basically you can you can see that. You just plug this into the bike. Obviously the bike's got a battery charger on it, so it's the same cable as this. So yeah, unplug your battery charger obviously when you set off anyway, if you keep it on trickle. But one of the first things I do is just check my tyres before I go out for a ride. And if you need to pump it up, I plug this thing in and it's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, so these stay in the bike all the time basically. Yes, this is the Oxford side stand, what would you call it? Side stand, spreader, plate, whatever it is. Stops your side stand digging in the mud basically. It's got a little grip on the bottom. It's high visible, high vis, so you can, you know, be sure you won't forget it, you won't miss it when you're setting off. It's magnetic as well, so what you can do, put your side stand down, flick it on the bottom, and then it will basically land right underneath your side stand when you lean the bike over. So that's a really good bit of kit, especially if you're camping on boggy ground. Right, there, we've got the toolkit. I'm not sure if I can fit all this on camera really. I'll tell you what we'll do first. Oh, the bloody beer. Today's drink is going to be Brewdog Punk IPA. Yum yum. And if you're wondering why I poured it like that, and you think you've done it wrong, why are you not pouring it like this, down at an angle and all that jazz? Well, there's a reason for that. That's how you meant to pour a beer. Why? Well, it's bubbling up there, isn't it, you see? And it's not bubbling up in your stomach. So you let it gas off in the cup, not in your tummy. Anyway, right. This thing is my tool roll, basically. So I carry most things in here that I'm going to need. Before I open that, I will quickly show you this. This is the Royal Enfield toolkit that came with the bike. I'll just insert a little clip that I filmed earlier on today, because I haven't really pulled this out of the bag yet. It's the first time. Well, I hear you ask, what's in the Royal Enfield toolkit? Specifically, what do you get in a Classic 500 toolkit? Well, this is a toolkit of my bike. I've never opened it yet. To be honest, I didn't even realise it was tucked in the bike until I've been cleaning it out. And this weekend, I've been rust-proofing the bike, and so I kind of pulled all the bits open, and to get rust-proofing spray everywhere I needed it, and I discovered this. I did know it was there, I just never bothered looking for it. But actually, it's probably a good thing I did find it because I yeah, kind of want to see what's inside it really. So you join me the first time I've opened this. Let's go for it. Let's see what's inside the Royal Enfield toolkit that comes with the bike. Okay, let's have a little look. So firstly, you get a lovely little pouch, lovely little bag. Comes with it. It's rubberized on the inside. It's looks quite tough, quite hard wearing. This says 14650/C. Looks like you get a plastic bag, and if I open up, hopefully this is not all rusted, because it's been sat in the bike in a bit of damp actually. You get a 24mm. Can you see that? 24mm spanner. And this will be for your axle nut, like the front axle for example, is 24mm. You'll be able to make this longer, obviously, because it's such a small toolkit. What you do, you extend it, so you put this bar in here, and if you can see that, that basically makes it longer, so you can basically make it about maybe that long, something like that. You've got a lot more leverage there. Quite good, that, how it folds together. What else have we got? We've got 24, well, T21, 24, so 24 millimeters at one end, 21 millimeters at the other end. So the 21 millimeters, this will get your spark plug out, for example. So you've got a bar with it, and obviously you can put the bar in there and you can twist, get your spark plug in and out. 24 millimeter, again, probably useful for the axle nut, for example. I mean, these tools are quite cheap. They don't feel good quality, but they're get me home, get me out of trouble tools, aren't they, really? Let's face it, this is all you've got on your bike, you can do most things with it. So yeah, a little box, a box socket or box spanner, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and the bar that goes with it. We've got a little screwdriver in here, flat head, and I'm pretty sure if we pull this out and reverse it, you've got a Phillips head on that as well, so that's quite handy. 2 Allen keys, I don't know what size, it looks like about 5mm, and this looks about 3 millimeters, so 2 little Allen keys. Tyre levers, these are quite heavy, but anyway, looks like some tyre levers there, so again, might get you out of trouble. And then it looks like a bag of spanners, yeah, literally a bag of spanners in a plastic bag. Let's have a look at this then, what we've got. Okay, right, we've got 10 millimeters. So 10 millimeter and 8 millimeter spanner. We've got 14 and 15 millimeters, 13, 10, and a 13, 10. So you've got 2 13 millimeters and 10 millimeter spanners, which is quite handy because sometimes you've got a 13 millimeter nut on one side and a bolt 13 millimeters, so sometimes you do need both. So that's quite handy. And look like they're made of chrome vanadium or whatever they call it. Venus. Again, cheaply made, but might get you out of a pickle. So that's what you get in the toolkit, the Royal Enfield. So not a fantastic toolkit, but pretty much I think got most things you're going to need to get you out of a pickle if you're absolutely desperate. Right, so this is the tool wheel that I have. So it's quite good. It's made of like a wax cotton material with leather. I'm not sure what make it is. I think it's Pearly brand or something like that. Anyway, I'll put the link in the description. But yeah, you've got these, it looks period, so it looks good on the bike, as you can see. It's like a tool roll, quite heavy when I've filled it up with tools, but basically, yeah, you've got Prestos on the front. So it looks authentic and original, period. But actually, you've got the benefit here, as you can see, of having these straps that go around. So you can basically tighten up or loosen it. So I'll just loosen it now, just so you can see. It looks like. And then you've just got these modern plastic clips underneath. So you just undo that, then you can roll it out. And this is kind of what I've got in my toolkit. Right, we'll start at this side and we'll work our way down then. I'll leave that out for a second. This is a little bar, but it's for something in there, so we'll cover that in a second. Right, first thing, a little punch actually. This is useful for lots of things. So for example, if you're getting your axle out, you can kind of use this to knock, with a hammer, or a mallet, knock it through. It's got lots of uses basically. Right, so that's the punch. We've got a tiny little ruler. It's got metric on one side and I believe imperial on the other side. Yep, it does. Comes in a little sleeve. On a bike, it's very useful for measuring your chain. slack. So that's what I use it for. Then I've got a little magnetic pick-me-up tool. It's one of those extending ones. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put these things back where I got them from, because I'm probably going to lose them if I don't do that. Next thing then, this is a Wiha screwdriver. This is absolutely fantastic. It's magic. You pull the end out, you just pull that back like that, see, quick release, and then your bit comes out. Each bit has got two ends on, so basically different size, in this case different size Phillips head screwdriver. But the clever thing is, you press the button at the end and you've got a whole set of extra tools. So you've got flat heads, Allen key heads, so basically you can pull them out there, put them back, close it up, spin it around, and then you've got an Allen head in there, and it'll stay in there as well. You can't pull it out unless you pull the quick release thing. So that is an absolute brilliant bit of tool, because think about how many screwdrivers and what you got in here, Allen keys and all sorts. It's a toolkit just in itself. So for the bike, this is, you know, a really good bit of kit. Wiha, Wiha, I don't know how you pronounce it, but that is fantastic. Right, next thing I've got is feeler gauges. Obviously for things like setting your spark plug gap, it's a little draper set. It's angled as well, so it's quite good to get in. Tiny little, probably as big as my finger really. Tiny little ratchet, big as my finger. I've got a set of spanners, and if you look at these are really thin ones. I don't know if you can see how thin they are. So A, they're lighter weight, B, they take up less space, and you get into some awkward areas with them. They range from like 6mm up to 21mm, I think is the biggest one. 22. And obviously they've got, I think they're called combination wrench. Basically you've got a different size at each end, so you've got half the amount of spanners you'd normally need. So that's a really good bit of kit. And yeah, all these things are really trying to save weight. Right, next thing, I've got two Motion Pro tyre irons, tyre levers, but they've also got, on the end of them, they've got, in this case, a 24mm, which is obviously the same size as your axle nut, so that's quite handy. And this is a 13mm at the other end. Now the benefit of that is, I'm probably jumping around up here a little bit now, but if I go to this is one of those, I don't know, like a socket, combination socket, I don't know what they're called, but that will fit in 24mm. In the middle, I've got a little crowbar thing. I just made a cap, but this is a little tiny crowbar, and there's another sort of crowbar on the other end, but I'll just keep these covered on to stop it tearing into anything in the tool bag. Right, next thing then, well, we've got some spare cable ties. Always good to have some cable ties kicking around. Can't go wrong with spare cable ties. Next thing then, we've got a little set of 1/4" sockets ranging from 14mm down to 8mm. We've got some Kipex, I think they're called Kipex. These are these are fantastic little grips, vice grip type things, but you can expand them to, I don't know how big that is, maybe 20mm, 90mm jaws on them. You press the little button there, and then you can change the size of them. So yeah, these are really good, and so tiny, as you can see, big as your hand. You can get different sizes, but for a toolkit, this is really good. I've got it's not a Leatherman, it's a cheap knockoff version of a Leatherman, but obviously that gives me the ability to have some pliers with, you know, usual stuff, knife blades, saw blades, measuring things and whatnot. And the next thing really is well, it's a hammer essentially, but it's also got lots of other functions. Basically, it's got pliers in there. It's got pliers at the end, yeah, pliers there and pliers there. It's a grip tool, so obviously it's got this gripping thing, so you can wrench on a nut, for example. You can change the size of it, but this side's got a wrench bit as well. But it's also got a hammer as well, so you can use it for a hammer. So getting your axle nut out, you are meant to use a mallet, But if you've got a little bit of wood liner and something for a stick or something, you know, to cushion the blow, you can actually use this to get your axle out. So this is quite good getting you out of trouble if you've got a flat tyre. In here I've also got a little bit of wire, so if something falls off it needs patching up, got a bit of wire there, so that lives in there. Next we've got socket bar, and wrapped around here we've got some Gorilla tape, just to save you taking a roll. So again, if you need to stick something down, you got some tape with you. 24mm socket. So pretty much all my tools are geared towards this bike and what it needs. So axle nut is 24mm. So when I combine that with this, makes it really easy, and it's extendable as well. So it makes it really easy to get the axle off. We'll pop that on there. So there you go. That's that. Another extension piece. So little snips, it's handy. A little knuckle joint, and that tool I showed you earlier. And again, another extension piece. And then I got a selection of other things. These are just some little 1/4 inch this time with a knuckle joint, 1/4 inch extension bars, and a flexi bar if you need to get in somewhere tight. A little T bar for loosening things, all 1/4 inch. This is a set of converters, so you can convert, for example, a socket to a 1/4 inch. You can convert from a 1/4 female to 3/8, and so on and so forth. So basically different conversions for your sockets. So you can combine these together and go from a 3/8 to a 1/2 inch. You get the idea. So that's quite a useful set of conversions tools. Now the last bit, you can see on here we've got like a press stud on the end. Open this zip, and we should have some interesting tools in here. Let's have a look what we got. Got some gloves, some just basic nitro rubber gloves. Cable oiler. You want to just put a bit of oil down your cables, accelerator cable. Now, I did mention that this thing here, I'll come back to this. This is basically a Motion Pro chain alignment tool. So what you basically do, you feed that through there. That then screws onto your sprocket. And basically, if that is perfectly alignment with your chain down the centre line or parallel with it, you know that your back wheel is in alignment left to right. It's a really good bit of kit. This is another Motion Pro sprocket jammer. This is useful again if you're changing your back wheel or you're adjusting your back wheel. You know, you want to basically make sure that your wheel is jammed up against the adjusters basically as far forward as it can be when you tighten it up. So you just pop this at the top of your chain near the rear sprocket, and basically then when you lift your wheel, sort of rotate it, it will basically act to push the wheel forward. So rather than trying to kick it forward and whatnot, you know, you don't need to do that. You can just use this. But I don't know what this cost, but 15 quid. But a really good tool. Again, both of these Motion Pro. Right, we've got one of these get you out of trouble devices. This is basically, again, you can put that in a socket, but it's one of those things that basically will adjust to any shape. So now if you had a nut or something, I know it's not a nut, but if you had a nut in there, these little pins will adjust to the shape of whatever it is. So that will get you out of trouble basically, if you haven't got quite the right socket size or whatever. So keep that in its little pouch. Some little Allen keys. I don't really need these for the Enfield, I don't think, but these are like some of those little star socket things. Yeah, probably don't need that. This is another little Motion Pro tool. Basically it's a bottle opener, isn't it really? It's got some sort of sizing things as well, as you can size your I don't know, nuts, whatever. I can't remember what it is. Must have bought it drunk. Have you ever wondered what one of those things is? Those things. This is a tool from Motion Pro, one of my favourite set of products for the bike in terms of tools. So what is it? Okay, well, I was a bit baffled. I have to admit, I found it in the toolbox and I hadn't used it for a long time actually. It's that long ago since I used it, I actually forgot what the heck it does. There's an obvious bit to it. This bit looks like a bottle opener. Indeed, that's what it is. But it's more than just a bottle opener. What else is it then? I dare you ask. So, what is it then if it's not just a bottle opener? Well, this might give you a clue. With my bike, I always carry a spare one of these. It's actually a 3D printed case, but it's not the case that I'm going to talk to you about. What's inside? Spare spark plug. So yeah, I always keep it in a protective case. I forget where I got these from. They basically come in a pack of 3 of them. So all this is just a way of getting an accurate gap setting for your spark plug, and it's really simple. If you can see here, we've got different measurements on it, so basically, I don't know if you can see that, but you've got different thicknesses of the metal, both either side. And we've got written on this, should have my glasses actually, but on one side we've got 1mm, 0.9, 0.8 millimeters, then we've got 0.7, 0.6 and 0.5. So for the Royal Enfield you need to be aiming for 0.7 millimeters basically. So obviously you can check it with that. Now I've already gapped this, so 0.7 now goes on perfectly, but if it was a different reading, it was a bit too tight, what you can do is get this end here with a small hole, and you can actually just use this to lever over this part of the spark plug, the what is it called, this bit that the spark comes off of, or to this bit anyway, whatever that's called. Yeah, you can open it up a bit like that, and then similar if you want to close it, you can just tap it. So yeah, so that's kind of what the tool is. Dead simple. It's probably expensive for what you get. I don't know, I think about 20 quid or something now. But yeah, really handy tool, nice and flat, keep it in your bag. So that's that. But another thing, while we're on the subject of spark plugs, when you put your spark plug in, you're going to swap it. What you don't want to do is just stick it straight in. It's got to have something on it to stop it seizing up. The last thing you want is, if you don't change your spark plugs that often, if you go to it in whatever 3, 4, 5 years time, and you find out it's seized in there and the bugger to get out. So what you can do is put some of this stuff on it. This is a Permatex anti-seize lubricant. Yeah, Permatex anti-seize lubricant, which is basically, this temperature is up to 1600 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 870 degrees Celsius. Yeah, it's just going to stop it seizing really. Just comes in a little tube like that. Keep that in your motorcycle spares department at your house, in your shed. And yeah, just rub a little smear on the end before you screw it in. So we'll be doing that. We're going to be changing the spark plug. This is an iridium spark plug that I've got for the Enfield. It runs much hotter, much better, more reliable, cleaner burn, all that good stuff. Spare valves, so sometimes you've got a tyre that's deflating. It's probably, or it can often be just because the valve's a bit dodgy. So there's a spare kind of shredder valve insert in there, and also a little tool to insert it with, and some spare dust caps as well. Right, this thing, another Motion Pro tool. I'm a big fan of Motion Pro. But what this is, it's like lots of different tools in one really. It's like a Swiss Army knife type thing. But what you basically got in here is, well, this tool is multi-tool basically. But you've got a bottle opener. What's this? A 10mm spanner. got a 7/16 sort of spanner, another 10mm on that end. So you can kind of like, you've got a socket here, it's 14mm socket there. But this is also the handle as well, so what you can do is you can put your socket in that way, and then you've got a handle for your 14mm socket. But you could also put it, let's have a look, which way does it go? That way. And this will now act as a screwdriver. So what you can now do is get this tool, like a screwdriver tool for example, and that will just go in the end, and there you've got a screwdriver. Swap it around, you've got a different size screwdriver. Again, there's different bits. There's a Phillips head for that. There's an Allen key head for that as well. What else can you do? I can't remember if these came with it, but there's a couple of other sockets here. That goes in there, like that. So now you got, like, whatever, 10mm socket, 14mm. Different actually, I think one side's 14, one side's something else. I don't know. Anyway, different size sockets for it. You get the idea. And actually what you can do as well, if you wanted some extra leverage on that, what you can do is push that in there like that. And now, if you've got a socket, you've got a sort of turning handle now. You can use this as a T-bar almost and turn. So that can go that way, or like I say, if you want an extension on it, you can do it that way. You can use it more like a screwdriver. So yeah, good bit of kit this, really good bit of kit. So that's all the things I carry pretty much day to day, pretty much getting myself out of any situation with all that gear. Breaker bar, I know it seems a bit odd thing to carry this, but if I do need to get the wheel off, the little tiny tools that I've got, yeah, they're not good really. This, I think something like 70 Newton meters it's torqued up to, so kind of need that really to get the wheel on and off. This is a rag that's soaked in ACF 50 or XCP, so if I do need to wipe it down again or whatever, if there's any bits that are going a bit rusty, I've got a little rag there, some microfiber cloth. And the only extra thing I should have shown you was this paracord. I can normally keep this in here as well. It's like a paracord brace that you've probably seen these before. But yeah, but if you are stuck and you need to tie something down and you want some small rope, paracord, strong rope, then yeah, you can get busting this open and yeah, you've got yourself a little another escape route potentially. Right, on to other things that you might want to consider carrying if you're going a bit further afield for a longer whatever. These are little motorcycle booster cables. They can be handy. Again, not necessary really. What you're probably better off doing is having something like this, which is a battery booster. This is a NOCO battery booster. So it comes in a little pouch. You've got the booster itself. This one is a Genius GB40. Brilliant bit of kit. I actually use this for the car. I mean, it might look small, but this will jump start a van, never mind a motorbike. Comes with really high quality leads. So obviously just push this in one end. There's other features. It's got a torch, for example. Let's have a look. Okay, there's a torch. You switch it on. It does a bit of a battery level check of its own battery. You've got lights. You've got hazard lights on it as well, so if you break down, you've got hazard lights. Yeah, all that stuff. Anyway, that's that. And it's USB chargeable as well, so you can, yeah, you can even use it as a power bank as well. Actually, it's got USB sockets in the end, so one's to charge it, and you can actually use this to, you know, charge your phone or whatever. So this is a good thing to keep if you're going on a couple of days ride. Now we've got more chain maintenance things. We've got Motion Pro chain kit. So yeah, don't really carry as much, but again, if you break your chain and you need to swap your chain, if I was going away for a few days, a week, whatever, travelling, I probably would take this and probably even a spare chain actually. So that's that. Then we've also got another bag of sockets. Again, do I really need these? I don't know. I've got some spanners, more spanners, but then some of these, I don't know, Crescent I think they're called, some cheapy make. But they're alright, not brilliant. Crescent tools, and basically you get so you can hook your sockets in like that, and you know, that's how it works. It's a bit cheap and nasty if I'm honest, a bit shit. What else have I got? Well, I won't say I really carry this, but it is useful. You don't really need this, but more for home repairs really, but it's a torque wrench. Just a cheap Magnuson torque wrench. And that, I think, is pretty much it. The only other thing that sometimes is carried, a little Bear Grylls survival thing, it's got flint, fire starter, whatever, if you need to start a fire in the wilderness, whatever, you never know. It's a safety wire twister tool, so this is the actual tool. It's like this, the wire twister, but it's also got some pliers and some snips at the end, so keep that on me. This is a multimeter, but it's a tiny little Sealy multimeter, as you can see. Tiny, the size of my fingers, that's how big it is. It's tiny. There you go. So that's a little multimeter, my Sealy. It's a model on there. Sealy MM18, model number MM18. So it's a tiny little multimeter. You've got your little dial there for your different functions you can go through and so on. Yes, if you've got any electrical fault diagnosis, that can be invaluable. If your lights are not working, for example, you need to check it out. The last thing I've got to show you then is not something I really use on the Royal Enfield, but I use this on the BMW, or carried it on the BMW. It's a little tyre repair kit. It's actually the tyre repair kit from Gear Gremlin. I've added a few things to this. So the things I've added to this is the Bead Buddy, the Motion Pro Bead Buddy, which is an awesome bit of kit. I should say this is brand new because I've never had to change a tyre yet, but I probably should practice. But anyway, probably a lot of this kit's less relevant for the Enfield. There's some what they call like tyre rim saver things. Just if you're levering off, it just stops you dinging your rims. Basically, these are cheap things off eBay. I can't remember what they were, but that's what that looks like. Just goes on your rim. I've got a punch repair kit, and then I've also got in here, again, just, yeah, this is one of these little tools for if you need to pull, dropping it off, if you need to pull your tyre valve through, then that's what that's for. Little tool there. It comes with the tools. Obviously this is for tubeless tyres. The Enfield's got tube tyres, so obviously this is not for this. Don't stick that in your tube. But if you did have a tubeless tyre, then this is for basically drilling your hole. Basically that's it now. Bedtime. Hopefully that's been of help to somebody. Let me know what you think and what you carry in your bike kit. Catch you later. Right, so a little tip for you there. If you don't want your tools to rust, just put them in a bowl, spray them with ACF 50 or XCP or some other rust prevention thing, and then one by one, take them out, give them a wipe off, but then they'll have a very thin layer of protection.